today's video, I want to go over all the features that the HTC 10 camera offers. As you know, HTC 10 is a premium device with flagship specifications and offers one of the best cameras on the market. On the rear, you have the 12 megapixel f1.8 camera with dual LED flashlight as well as laser autofocus, and on the front, you have a 5 megapixel f1.8 camera. Those are some impressive numbers, and it is an absolute requirement that you master every aspect of this camera, so let's dive right in. Alright, so the first step is very simple, but it's very useful. What you do is you pick up the phone in portrait orientation and you swipe down twice, and that launches the camera for quick and easy access. Now, if this feature is not working for you, you do have to go and enable it, so let me show you how to enable this feature. Let's go home real quick. Go into the settings, scroll down where it says display gestures and buttons, tap on it. All the way at the bottom you'll see motion launch gestures. If you tap it, number 5 is the one where you swipe down twice to open the camera. And if you tap 5 over here, it shows you exactly how it works. Alright, so let's launch the camera and start with some of the basics. So to understand how this camera works, the first thing you have to understand is that there are different capture modes, such as photo, video, the pro mode, the hyperlapse mode, and so on and so forth. So to access the different capture modes, all you have to do, if you're in portrait orientation, you pull from top to bottom. If you're in landscape orientation, you do the same. So you pull from top to bottom, and that brings up the menu from where you can switch between various capture modes. So you've got the photo mode, you've got the ZO camera, you've got the panorama, and you can slide over. You've got the pro mode, which we are going to talk about in a little bit. You've got the video mode, you've got the time-lapse / hyperlapse, slow motion, and you've got the selfie photo, selfie video, which is going to use the front-facing camera. And if you scroll all the way down over here, you'll see settings. These settings are generic settings that apply to all the modes. And of course, each one of these capture modes have their own sub-menu. So like I said, if you scroll over, you get the settings for everything. But if you go over here, and if you look at that arrow that points downwards, you'll see the available options for that particular capture mode, which in this case is highlighted in red. So we have the timer functionality, and we've got the resolution functionality. So let's take a look. If you tap on the timer, you can toggle between 2 seconds or 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Okay, and I'm sure everybody knows exactly what this means. If you do a capture, it's going to take 2 seconds before it actually captures the photos. You can use that as a timer to control your shots. If you scroll down one more time, now this one over here allows you to switch between different resolutions. So in this case, we're doing a wide screen shot. If I have my phone in a landscape orientation, it will fill the entire screen. Now if I tap this one more time, I can do 16:9, which is the aspect ratio, which means wide screen. But as you can see, the resolution is now 4 megapixels. So this is going to be a lower quality shot, but it's also going to take less space on your phone. So let's tap it one more time. Now it's switched to 2 megapixels. Tap it one more time. Now you have a 4:3 aspect ratio, but you have 12 megapixels, okay? So you get the idea. As you can see, now you have these black bars. So instead of getting a wide screen shot, you have a more rectangular shot, but it's not too wide. It's just 4:3 aspect ratio. So let's tap it one more time. You can do 1:1. This is a square shot. It's going to be 9 megapixels. Aspect ratio is 1:1. So they're equal on both sides. Okay. So that's how you switch between different aspect ratios and different resolutions. Remember, 16:9 is widescreen. 4:3 is just a rectangle, but it's less wide than 16:9. And then 1:1, which was right over here, is a square shot, the kind you will see on Instagram photos. And each aspect ratio has its own resolution that you can pick. So in this case, the 1:1 is 9 megapixels. Now my favorite is 16:9 at 9 megapixels. However, if you want the highest resolution possible, you should always go to 4:3 at 12 megapixels. Alright, so that's the standard photo mode. Now if you scroll down again, you can go to Zoom Camera. If you tap Zoom Camera, and if you scroll down one more time, as you can see, Zoom Camera has no sub menu. What Zoom Camera does is it takes a photo and then it takes 3 seconds of video right after the photo. So if I press this button, it takes the photo, and as you can see, the circle is filling. So it just took a 3-second video. If I launch a picture that was taken using the Zoom Camera shooting mode, you'll see that there's a little play button here, and there's a 3-second timeline. So if I press play, it actually plays the picture. So you can take a picture and you can record a 3-second video attached to it. You can get creative with these options. It is also going to record the voice. Alright, so let's move over one more time. And over here you have the panorama mode. Everybody knows what panorama mode is. If you want to take wide photos, very, very, very wide photos, you will have to use panorama. Okay, so let's switch that over. And then you got the Pro mode. We are going to come back to that in a little bit. It's more advanced than the other options. As you can see, if I do go to Pro mode, you get some icons on the screen. If I scroll down, you have some sub-menu options. We are going to talk about all these. Let's go to video mode. So obviously in the video mode, you can record video. Now let me scroll down and let's take a look at the sub-menu options. From here, you have 2 options. You can switch between quality and you can switch between high resolution audio. Now the HTC has some great audio recording features. If you tap this thing, you can turn the high resolution audio off, or you can turn it on. If you turn it on, you're simply going to get better voice in your videos. Next up, let's talk about the quality. Now right now we're looking at full high definition. If I tap this, I can toggle between regular high definition, which is 720p. If I tap it again, I can go to some very, very low quality that nobody uses anymore, but it is in fact available. It is called QVGA, and the only benefit of this mode is if you're not looking for high quality, but you're trying to save some space on your phone, this is going to take a lot less space than any other video recording mode. Now if I tap it one more time, this takes you to the lowest possible resolution. The only reason you want to use the MMS quality is if you want to send a video to your friend via a text message. Because if you record a 1080p, a high definition video, and you try to send that to your friend in a text message, it's going to take a long time. So if you're going to do that, just use the MMS, which is multimedia messaging mode, and that is going to record a video in a very low format. It's going to take minimum space, and it's going to send the video immediately via the text message. And of course, if you tap this one more time, you can now go to 4K recording mode. This is going to give you the 4K quality at 30 frames per second. This is the absolute highest resolution you can record your video in. And as you can see, with the 4K quality, you can also toggle the high resolution audio on and off. You can do the same thing with full high definition, which is 1080p at 60 frames per second. But the moment you go away to the regular recording modes, not the high definition, but the regular ones, the high resolution audio option disappears. So if I go back over here to QVGA, no high resolution audio. Alright, so let's move on. Alright, so let's quickly take a look at the hyperlapse mode. If you go in there, basically with this mode you can create time-lapse videos or photos. And again, if you go over to slow motion, that is going to record 720p at 120 frames per second for super slow motion shots. Alright, so the selfie photo and the selfie video are quite obvious. If you tap on selfie photo, it brings up the front facing camera, just like that. And if you do the selfie video, it brings up the front facing video, so you can in fact start to record video. Now what I really want to talk about is, let's just stay in photo for a minute. I want to talk about the settings that apply to all these modes. So there's some fancy features in there. Let's go to settings, scroll all the way over, tap on settings, and here you have all these basic options and some advanced options and some medium options. So the first one is grid. and everybody knows what that is. If you disable this, the 2x2, the 3x3 grid disappears. I recommend that you guys keep that on. It allows you to better align your pictures. The other option is called a geotag photos. So basically, if this is enabled, if the check mark is right there, the red mark, that means if you're in New York and you take a picture in New York, the photo, the camera is going to know exactly where you took the picture. It's going to pinpoint the location. So whether you're in California, in New York, or wherever, the camera is going to save that information, and later you can use these things to sort photos by location. So if you go on a vacation and you take photos, you can create an album just for that location. So if there is a feature you're looking for, make sure this thing is always enabled. The next thing is the shutter sound. So basically, if this is enabled, and if you take a photo, it's going to make the standard shutter sound. So every time you take a picture, it's going to make a sound. If you want to take pictures quietly, then you have to uncheck this box so nobody hears that you're taking a photo. Okay? And if you scroll down, you're going to see a couple other options. You're going to see camera options, volume button options, and storage. Each one of these guys can be expanded. Let me go back down here again. There we go. So all these three options are expandable. So if I tap this, you get 5 options. First one is auto smile capture. Basically, if you have this enabled, and if you frame somebody in the shot who is smiling, it's going to take a picture. You don't have to press the shutter button after they smile. You can tell them to smile. The moment they smile, it takes a photo automatically. You don't have to press the shutter button. That's pretty fantastic. Now, when you're using the front-facing camera, you get the same option. When you actually enable the front-facing camera, this option becomes available, and you can actually check this. It gets enabled, does the same thing for the front-facing camera. And then here's one of my favorite features. It's called voice capture. If you enable voice capture, you can take a photo hands-free just by using voice commands. So let's just enable this for a second. And let's say capture. As you can see, without even using my hands, I was able to take a picture. This is great if you're taking a group shot with all your friends in it and you want to be in the picture too. You can put the phone away and you just say capture and it takes a photo. Let's disable that. By the way, you can use voice capture in combination with the timer function. So if you have a timer enabled to be 2 seconds, and if you say capture cheese, the timer is also going to activate. Remember, the timer was right over here. Right now we have no timer, but if you have it at 2 seconds, and if you say capture with the voice command, it's going to actually activate the timer as well. Very convenient. Let's go back over here to the settings. So those are the camera options. Alrighty, remember, if you tap it again, it collapses. Now let's look at volume button options. Let's tap this guy. You have 3 options, volume, capture, and zoom. You can actually use the volume keys to zoom in and zoom out, or capture photos, or simply use them as volume. But this option allows you to define how the volume keys are going to be used. Volume button options. And over here you can do zoom, and this changes the volume keys to zoom keys. So if you do volume up, it zooms in, volume down, oops, that was the power, volume down, zooms it out, okay? So very convenient functionalities. And there's one thing I forgot to show you in camera options. If you scroll down, you have the option of touch to capture. If you tap this, you can touch anywhere on the camera, and the camera is going to focus on the location that you touched, and it's going to take a photo. So when you do a touch to screen, you can focus anywhere on the screen. When you press the shutter button, it does an automatic focus. When you touch the screen, it focuses exactly where you're touching and then takes a picture. Very good feature. And the final settings options over here, if you go to settings, if you go to storage, you can pick to store your photos in internal storage or external storage, which is the SD card. I highly recommend that you choose this if you have an SD card, because you do not want to fill up the internal storage of your phone. That's better for apps and stuff like that. So if you do have an SD card, go into the settings right now and switch over to removable storage. So all your